You can learn more about someone in 5 minutes of ordinary life than in 5 years of them telling you who they are. Because people can control their words, they can control their image, they can even control how they treat you when they desperately want something from you. But the smallest habits? Those are much harder to fake. Watch what someone does when there is nothing to gain, nobody important watching, and no reason to impress anyone. That's when their real character starts showing. And the first sign is so small that most people completely miss it. Pay attention to how they treat people who can do absolutely nothing for them. A waiter brings the wrong order. A cashier takes too long. A stranger accidentally gets in their way. Nothing serious happens. But suddenly, their voice changes. Their face changes. Their patience disappears. That moment tells you something important. Character isn't measured by how politely someone treats people they need. It's revealed by how they treat people they don't need. And there's an even more revealing situation. Watch what happens when they make a mistake. Some people immediately look for someone to blame. I didn't do it. You made me. You should have told me. But a person with strong character can say something surprisingly simple. I was wrong. No excuses, no performance, no attempt to protect their ego. Because admitting a mistake feels like losing power to an insecure person. But to a secure person, admitting the truth is more important than looking perfect. And then comes a habit that can reveal something even deeper. Notice whether they keep tiny promises. I'm going to call you tonight. I'll send it tomorrow. I'll be there at 7. These things sound insignificant, but they're not. Every small promise is a tiny deposit into someone's trust. When a person repeatedly says one thing and does another, eventually you stop listening to their words. You start watching their patterns. And patterns don't lie for very long. Here's another one. Watch how they react when you say no. This might be one of the fastest ways to understand someone's character. Say no to a request. Set a boundary. Don't explain yourself 10 times. A healthy person might be disappointed, but they'll respect your decision. A manipulative person may suddenly become cold. They may guilt trip you. They may become angry. Or they may make you feel like you're a bad person simply because you didn't give them what they wanted. And that's when you realize something uncomfortable. Sometimes people aren't upset because you hurt them. They're upset because they lost control over you. Now watch something even quieter. How do they talk about people who aren't in the room? Because if every conversation is filled with gossip, humiliation, and secrets about other people, there's a good chance you're not the exception. You're simply the current audience. One day, you may leave the room and become the story. But there's another habit that reveals the opposite. Pay attention when someone gives credit away. They could easily take all the praise. But instead they say, she helped me. He came up with that idea. They deserve the credit. That tiny moment reveals something powerful. They don't need every spotlight to feel valuable. And people who don't constantly need attention often have something far more valuable than charisma: security. Now here's one almost nobody thinks about. Watch how someone behaves when plans change. The restaurant is closed. The flight is delayed. Something doesn't go their way. Suddenly, the version of them you didn't know existed can appear. And that's because frustration doesn't always create a new personality. Sometimes it removes the filter from the old one. A calm person under pressure isn't necessarily someone who never gets angry. It's someone who can feel anger without turning it into cruelty. And finally, watch what they do when nobody will ever know. Do they return something they were accidentally given? Do they tell the truth when lying would be easier? Do they help someone without taking a picture? Do they clean up a mess they didn't make? Do they choose what's right when there is absolutely no reward? Because that's the deepest test of character. Not what someone does when everyone is watching. What they do when nobody is. And maybe that's why judging people by their biggest moments can be so misleading. A person can give an incredible speech. They can buy expensive gifts. They can say all the right things. But character is usually hiding somewhere much smaller. In the way they speak to a stranger. In the way they handle being told no. in whether they keep their word, in whether they admit they're wrong, in what they do when nobody is watching. So the next time you're trying to understand who someone really is, don't ask yourself, how impressive are they? Ask something much simpler. Who are they when they have nothing to gain? Because eventually, everyone stops performing. And when the performance ends, the habits remain. And those habits are often the most honest introduction you'll ever get to a person's true character. Which of these habits do you think reveals someone's character the fastest? Share your answer in the comments.